All too often we face situations where people call and ask us what they should have done or what they should do when they're involved in an accident.
Right.
In this segment, we're talking about what you should do after you've been injured in an accident while essentially you're still on the scene of the accident. Gary, let's talk about those issues. What's the first thing a person should consider or doing or address when they've been in an accident?
The first thing they should do is, if they need medical treatment, they need to seek immediate medical treatment. Far too often we have people come in and ask us, or we just hear general questions of, they said they were hurt at the scene, then they said they denied they were hurt to the police officer, they were denied they were hurt even though they really were hurt to the other party and to any witnesses. And so that's what the police officer writes down, that's what the ambulance people write down, and they decline to go anywhere in an ambulance.
What kind of problem does that create later on as you're processing the claim?
I'll guarantee you, these attorneys for these insurance companies, when they take your deposition or they take your statement, they want to know, well, you told the police officer you weren't hurt. You told the witnesses you weren't hurt. And if you really were, you would have told them. And it hurts your case if you're legitimately hurt in an accident, no matter how small, no matter how large, if you deny it and if you don't seek medical treatment.
All right, let's say I've been in the accident and the police haven't shown up yet. What should I be doing?
You should be asking the other people how they are. You should be gathering the witnesses' names. You should know if there's any eyewitnesses. Many times these witnesses disappear. Sometimes the police officers don't even write their names down. And there's a dispute sometimes how the accident or the collision occurred, and that's what you've got to do.
What if I believe the driver that hit me is intoxicated?
If you believe the driver's intoxicated, drunk, or even in some cases they've overdosed on prescription drugs. They're not capable of controlling a vehicle. They're not capable of driving a car. You must insist the police be called. Sometimes they tell you, oh, don't call the police. We can work this out. No, you don't want to do that, because the police are the only one can administer the blood tests, the alcohol breath tests, and that's the only people that can take them in to see if they pass the test or not. If you let them go from the scene, you're never going to be able to retrieve the evidence.
What if I'm too injured to call the police?
If you're too injured to call the police, you need to ask help. Ask somebody, ask a bystander, ask an ambulance, an EMT technician. You need to ask for help to somebody. Please call the police.
And if I don't feel that I have an injury at the time, and I'm not asking for medical care, and the next day I find that I'm hurt, I wake up with pain, have I lost my case because of that?
You haven't lost your case. Some symptoms onset later. Some of them onset the next day. Sometimes people think I'm a little bit sore in my neck, I'm a little bit sore in my low back, but I'll just tough it and I'll see what happens. They go to bed, they wake up. Some of them can't get out of bed. Some of them are very sore when they get out of bed, and they have range of motion issues, cervical neck issues, lumbar low back issues, and therefore you got to go to the doctor. You have to go, because if you don't go, the insurance company for the at-fault party will use it against you to defeat your claim.
If I go to the witnesses, what kind of information do I want to get from the witnesses, if I'm able?
If you're able, you certainly want to get their names, you want to get their addresses, you want to know what they saw. It's as simple as that. Where were they located? Did they see it? Did they see the person run the red light? Did they see him swerve? And do they see him swerving now because they may be intoxicated or drunk?
Should I take pictures?
If you have a camera, you should take pictures if you're able. The first thing you need to do is worry about yourself. But if you're able, you should take pictures. Insurance companies sometimes say, that's not the debris. Those aren't the skid marks. That's not the real damage to the car. You must be able to protect yourself and prove what happened through witnesses or photographs.
If my daughter's in an accident and I'm called to come out to the accident, they're putting her in the ambulance, what should I be doing?
Make sure your daughter's being taken care of medically. Make sure you're satisfied, you're happy with the medical care. Then you need to preserve the same evidence we're talking about the collision, about the property damage, the witnesses, the police officers, and the condition of the person who caused the accident.
What about days when there's accident alert?
When there's accident alert, it creates a problem. It's what we call problematic. If there's an injury, you need to insist on calling the police. Sometimes they won't come. If they're not going to come, you need to gather the evidence from the witnesses and be able to prove exactly what happened, because most of the time later, the at-fault party either disappears, denies it, lies about it, or changes the story.
Is it important that I go down and report the accident from accident alert?
It is very important. You report it on the phone, try to get the name of the person you're reporting it to, and then you go down and fill the paperwork out at the police station. You can order the paperwork to fill it out. But I have seen a lot of cases where people have come in the office and said, well, I was in this accident, it was accident alert, we didn't call the police, and now the at-fault party is changing their story and said I caused it. You need to protect it right then.
When I've been in the accident and I've been taken by ambulance or I've gone to the doctor and I get my emergency room instructions, how important it is that I actually follow through with those instructions.
When you get your emergency room instructions, most ER doctors tell you follow up with your PCP, your primary care physician, then you must follow up. You can't make anything up, but don't leave anything out. If you have any symptoms whatsoever, then go to your doctor. These insurance companies for these at-fault parties look for ways to defeat you. One way they look for ways to defeat you is that you didn't go back to the doctor. You didn't follow up. You didn't have diagnostic tests. You didn't go to physical therapy. You didn't get prescription medication, and if you did, you didn't take it. You need to pay attention and you need to follow up medically.
Well, this all sounds really good, but what about when I don't have the money to pay for the doctor and I don't have insurance and I know that ambulance is going to cost me money, I know the doctor is going to cost me money, and I'm just hoping it's going to go away? Do you face that kind of stuff?
Yes, we do. There's ways to solve that. First, in the beginning of this seminar, we talked about MedPay. If you don't have MedPay and if you don't have health insurance, you can still go to the emergency room. They will treat you. They are required by law to treat you. Then if you're going to go to your PCP or primary care doctor, arrangements can be made with the doctor to pay the doctor and receive treatment, even if you had no MedPay and even if you had no health insurance.